Good. Um, this is just a quick. Let's see if I'll find it. Okay. Either way, I got a comment in the last stream I done. Some guy assumed. There's a saying about assuming. But he was assuming that I didn't know how updates worked. So I thought I'd quickly explain in layman's terms how an update works, and so that if he sees this, he'll know that I knew. Like he was telling, like he was basically saying to a mechanic how to fix a car. Um, but just imagine each one of these squares is a part of the game. So just say that could be characters, that could be environments, that could be cars, that could be weather, that could be text, so on and so forth. So this entire grid, 6x6 grid, is the game. And this one here, I've done it white so it stands out, and that black bit there is a bug. So either something doesn't work correctly, or something is missing, or there's a spelling mistake, whatever the bug happens to be. So, for example, we'll use, because I don't want to beat the dead horse of CDPR, but we'll choose a completely Grand Theft Auto. Just say this is Grand Theft Auto. That's your characters, and so on. But that there could be, for example, your car, and that bit that's missing is how the tires work. So your tires are working incorrectly because there's a bug in it. When you update the game, if you play the game, it does that. It works perfectly fine. But imagine if that, because that's a bug. If, for example, it doesn't sit right. So now when you play the game, it's not where it should be. It's off centering, and if it's even further off, so for example, if we go, just say it's there, so you can see it's overhanging there and plays, it's actually moved this one. So that bug can affect other things. And just to clarify, this might not be a big bug. This might be a little bug. It could be, instead of putting a gravity of what the gravity is correctly, you put it incorrectly, and it's given extra gravity or less gravity, and that could affect other things. And that's what the bug is. When you update it, you can't just go, let's grab a circle and let's place the circle into there. Because that's not how it works. You can't just replace that part. What you've got to do with an update is that entire square has to be replaced. So you can't just go, oh yeah, send a 5 kilobyte thing saying change that word from, say, we'll say a 1 for 1 atmosphere to a, from, just say at the moment you've accidentally put it at 0.9 atmospheres and it's supposed to be a 1 atmosphere. You can't just send a couple of kilobytes correcting it from a 0.9 to a 1. What you have to do is grab that segment in the data of back at their place. So they're here. That's the original one. They alter it, going, okay, we've now fixed it, so it's all correct now. And that would be the update. They don't have to update every single square, just that one square, but they can't update that section of the square. So what they do is then they go, okay, we'll send an update, and just say that there could be, each square might be, we'll say, we'll go gigabyte each. Each square is a gigabyte. So when you get a day one patch, and it's a, for example, it could be a 2 gigabyte day one patch. They've obviously seen, oh yeah, there's a bug there. So in this case here, if each one of those was 1 gigabyte, they've gone, okay, there's a bug in that square. So we have to do a 1 gigabyte update, even if the bug is only a couple of kilobytes. So what happens is they will get this one, they will delete it, and then get the corrected one, which is over here, and then you would download that, and that will place it in its spot. And then when you play the game, it plays correctly. So the guy that sent me the mail, I just tried to look it up, but without going and hunting him up, it's like I know how the updates work. I know how programmer-wise, like I'm not an expert programmer. I'm not like C++, C++, or Unity, Unreal, or anything like that. I'm not that deep into gaming, but I know enough about it to know how an update works. So I thought I'd put this video up here just to clarify. When in my previous stream I said it's 40 gigabytes of nothing, because it is, it's 40 gigabytes of nothing. But in their case, that there is how much they fixed. In fact, that's a little too big for what they fixed. Try and get it closer to represent what has actually been fixed. Okay. That little black mark is what they've fixed. They've filled that in. Out of all of this, that is what they've fixed. But we have to download that amount of the white box. We have to download that amount to get that little bit of fix. So he made the comment about optimizations and stuff like that. Yeah, they might be optimizing it. And the map zooming out, when he goes, oh, that's taking a lot of data and stuff like that. It's like, no. Changing the zoom of a JPEG, that's that much. He'll turn around and make the comment, it's not a JPEG, it's a 3D model. They could get away with switching it over to a JPEG. Let's be honest. Do you need a 3D GPS rated map? No, you don't. You could have a JPEG with a dotted line that goes on it. So the update we were getting, which is 40 gigabytes. So technically, that little dot is on, if these were 10 gigabyte each, that little dot would be on 4 of those. If that's a 40 gigabyte square, that little dot is what they're fixing. And we have to download that entire section. More than likely, it's a little dot on this one, a little dot on that one, and a little dot on that one, and a little dot on that one that they're fixing. So that could be texts, and they're fixing a little dot on that. That could be physics. That could be your UI. But either way, you can't just putty up that hole. You have to delete that entire square and replace it with a good square. So it's out there, and the guy that made the comment, I do apologize that I cannot remember your name. It's going to bug me now, but yeah, making the comment trying to explain to me how the updates work when I know how the updates work, it's kind of like redundant, but I'm not going to hold it against you. Like, you don't know what I know. Like, you have no idea what I know, just like I have no idea what you know. For all I know, you could be an actual programmer. And you might not actually be defending them. You might be just trying to explain. And where it's actually starting to really do my head in that people are defending them, right, to the cows come home. I've got people on Twitter saying that I need to go outside and that I'm the loser and that I did not get into the hype. I got excited for the fact that a game is coming out that I, in brackets, could like. If the game came out as it was supposed to, I would have liked it. I would have loved it. I would have praised it. But through some on-purpose decisions that they have made in the game, it is a game I actually loathe. I hate the company. I used to love CDPR. The Witcher series. I loved the Witcher series. I played all 3 of them. I played 1, 2, and 3. 2 was my favorite. Then they announced Cyberpunk, and they ran down the list of what it will be. And I've gone, yes, open world. Yes, futuristic. Yes, character creation. Yes, uncensored. And yes, to the exploration of a city universe. I've gone, that's ticking all the boxes. And then just before the release, the original release, before the delays, they had the ratings board rate it. So each country, America got their rating, Asia got their rating, Egypt got their rating, so on and so forth. And then they put out a tweet stating that the countries with the full ratings, meaning the highest rating a game can get, basically adult game, and not pornographic. This is what's annoying me. All these idiots on Twitter seem to think, because they promised uncensored, that I want porn. So no, I don't want porn. That's not what uncensored is. Porn is porn, uncensored is uncensored. They are two completely different things, and anyone who makes the comment on Twitter, they're saying, I'm the horny little nerd because I'm not getting my porno, they're the horny ones, because I don't want a porn. I want the uncensored game that they promised. And if you go into the game, it actually states nudity censor. So I can only complain about the nudity censor. I can't turn around and say there's not enough swear words, there's not enough violence, there's not enough sexism or whatever, because there is no switches for those. There is no switches stating no violence or full violence, or partial violence or full violence. There's no switch like that, but there is for the nudity. So the nudity is all I can complain about. And this update, which is 1.3, and it is 8 months after its release, the thing they need to fix isn't that big. The thing they need to fix, I don't even think I can get the dots that small. It's literally an on or an off switch. It's smaller than that. They need to fix that. That is to correct the nudity sensor. When you have nudity sensor turned off, it is to be off. Off is off. On is on. There's no in-betweens. There's no sort ofs. There's no kinders. And as I've stated in some of my other streams, between the fact that they promised, and it is labelled as in the game, as uncensored, which is nudity sensor off. They promised it would be that, and it is labelled as that, but yet they are not delivering that. And that is what I'm bitching about, and it is nothing to do with pornographic. It is nothing to do with sex. Nudity and sex are completely different things. You can have sex with clothes on, and you can be naked without sex. So all these people on Twitter who are that brain dead and defending CDPR for the fraudulent actions, going, ooh, I'm the horny little boy because I'm not getting a porno. So when have I have never, ever stated I wanted a porno out of CDPR's game. Never, because that's not what I wanted. I wanted the game that they promised, the uncensored, nothing to do with porn. Nothing to do with sex. The cover is labelled as R18 plus. I posted that picture on Twitter because I'm moron. Turned around and says that I'm upset because I didn't get my little porno and the game's not even rated R18 plus. I had to screenshot the cover and I posted it on Twitter saying, apparently the defenders of CDPR say that this R18 game is an R18 plus. It is. It's rated R18 because it was supposed to be uncensored. It is labelled as uncensored. It has the setting, censored or uncensored. And when you turn it to uncensored mode, it still censors it. And it's not using the censor to censor it. It's using it. I have a stream up explaining the differences. But, yeah, so getting off the fact that the topic of how updates work, that is why I'm pissed off at dickheads on Twitter. So just to clarify to everybody on the planet, when I say they are criminals, because they're criminals. They are on purpose withholding our product. That's a criminal act. But excluding that, when I say I want my nudity because the nudity is supposed to be there and it's not, they're going, you're getting your porno. This is the clarification. Porno is pornographic, which is sexual intercourse. That has nothing to do with nudity. I challenge anybody on the planet. They can make it the movie. They can make a porno and stay fully clothed. Because you do not need to be naked to have intercourse. Just like you don't need to have intercourse to be naked. Perfect example in CDPR's game, Cyberpunk, when you have a shower. Why do you have it in your underwear? In real life, you have it naked because you've got to wash said bits. You're not having sex. You're naked. There's a difference. So the uneducated, complete and utter dumbasses on Twitter who keep insinuating that I'm talking about porno, and I'm not, I'm talking about nudity, need to get educated, seriously. Like, they need to learn the English language. So yeah, to clarify, it's nothing to do with sex that I'm talking about. It's the nudity. And the only reason I'm complaining about the nudity is because that's what's labelled and what they promised. If it was a violence sensor, on or off, I would be bitching just as hard about the fact that I've turned the violence sensor off so that there's no violence censored, but yet they're censoring the violence. I would be bitching just as hard about that because it's the fact that they promised something and are on purpose withholding it. And we've had how many updates replacing these boxes with the good boxes? And it is still not fixed. It is still not the product that I purchased. And it is still not the product that I deserve, or we deserve, the customers deserve. So the person who on Twitter said, we got what the game we bought. No, you didn't. Stop defending them. Look at what they're doing and think logically. They are doing a criminal act. Why am I defending that? It's not like as if they've, if the problem was there wasn't enough, for example, wasn't enough clothing options, or wasn't enough car options, or the city was tiny, that's a completely different thing. You could defend it for that. Maybe they didn't have enough manpower to make a huge city, or maybe they didn't have manpower to make enough clothing, or something like that. But the stuff they promised is in the code. Technically, they don't have to replace the square. They just need to turn the square on. So yeah, so the way an update works is you can't just replace that little dot. You have to replace that entire square. So the person who made the comment, you're making a comment about a method that I already knew about. So, and that's what this video is. This video is primarily out to explain that I already knew. You're pretty much explaining something that I already knew to me. So, hello, I already know that, but I'm not going to be rude enough to say it in the comment section, and I'm saying it nicely enough in the video, saying that I already knew it. Thanks for the comment, but I already knew how updates worked. It's been happening this way since not even 360. The Xbox One era is like when they started doing it this way. It all depends too on how many of these boxes they've got, on how big data can be. If a game company makes these boxes a lot smaller, so think of these as like a folder. If you go to your computer, document folders and stuff like that. So this could be pictures, videos, music, websites. You get how it works. If one is corrupted or a link is missing, you can't just go open that up on the console, open that up and correct it. You pretty much have to delete the incorrect one and replace the entire folder. So there it is, 20 minutes, I'm going to call it here. But again, I want my uncensored, not pornographic, uncensored. Two completely different things, and every absolutely brain dead moron on Twitter that keeps saying that I'm looking for pornos, you're a moron. Get yourself checked. Everyone else who is defending CDPR for criminal actions that they're doing, check yourself. For the people who are making legit comments, both for and against CDPR, that's fine. You can like CDPR, but don't defend criminal actions. And what they are doing is a criminal action. At its core, it is a criminal action. Everybody who bought Cyberpunk bought a product, a set product. What you received was not the product you purchased. And the three main reasons for this is the living world, which they promised, the groundbreaking technology they promised, and the uncensored they promised. Those are the three main categories that it's false on. Myself, I can look past the groundbreaking technologies, which is what everyone's saying blah, 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 on Twitter about. It's like, it's a game someone made the comment, this is how it is nowadays, they release broken games. Yes, and you defending them is encouraging them to keep doing it. If you say no, stop this shit, give me my correct product, they will have to listen eventually. And then this whole, at the moment, like day one patches are what, 1-2 gigabytes? It's going to end up day one patches are like 60 gigabytes. The entire game, basically. Because people are letting them get away with this crap. And saying that nudity is porn. It's like, grow up, you absolute morons. Get educated and think about what you're saying. But I'm going to call it. Again, the guy who made the comment. I hear where you're coming from. His comment didn't look like he was defending them. But it was a defensive comment, if that makes any sense. He's not saying what they did is right, and he's not saying what they did is wrong. He's just saying this is what they did. But he's saying it in a way, it's like, don't attack them. They're doing this. It's like, I understand where you're coming from, but look at it from the black and white point. Is Cyberpunk 2077 the game that we purchased? When you paid money for it and you bought a game, open world, role playing, living city, interactive, uncensored, all that sort of stuff, is how much of that is actually in there? Is that what you bought? No. If you go and buy a car and you want a 4-door automatic and you get a 2-door manual, do you not have the right to take it back and say, give me my right car? Or what? Because apparently the defenders of CDPR saying, dude, just take the 2-door manual and shut the hell up. You got a car? Well, yeah, I got a car. It's not the car I bought. And that is my issue. So I'm going to call it there. So just reminding you, updates. If the update is massive and you're not seeing a great deal of change in the game itself, you'll probably find you're downloading a big chunk like this to fix a little bit like that. And this is the visual representation so that people who aren't big in coding or aren't big in anything else can go, okay, that's how it works. There you go. Well, I'm going to call it. I'm out of here. I'll catch you all next time. Stay safe and take it easy.